Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb suggested that an object called Tri-Eye Atlas might be a type of alien technology. The numbers changed, and with them, the entire history of Tri-Eye Atlas changed. For several months, astronomers believed this interstellar visitor would merely pass by the red planet. Currently, astronomers continue to observe the newly discovered object, likely a comet from beyond our solar system. The first observations of the Tri-Eye Atlas were made on July 1st. It was a spectacular yet harmless approach. However, new calculations from Loeb's team at Harvard, as well as independent analysts and the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, discovered something astonishing. This is not just a stone, and perhaps it is heading towards the inner part of the solar system. We know that the object's trajectory is well aligned with the planet's. The trajectory of Tri-Eye Atlas is not only precise, it is actively changing, and the speed is fluctuating. And now, for the first time, the latest data shows that it may actually collide with Mars. Tri-Eye Atlas are moving faster than anything humanity has ever tracked, approaching from interstellar space. Its speed is nearly 87 kilometers per second relative to the Sun this week. Practically, it covers the distance between the Earth and the Moon in less than 80 minutes. Every hour, its trajectory is adjusted by the gravitational influences of the Sun, Jupiter, and Mars, changing by micrometers per second. These minor changes become enormous over distances of tens of millions of kilometers. The Martian Reconnaissance Orbital Station confirmed on its latest route that the coma of the object, its blurred halo, has doubled in brightness since August, accompanied by strange bursts of high energy in ultraviolet. This is atypical for comet physics. The rate of carbon dioxide emission significantly exceeds that observed in any comet of the solar system. Instead of stabilizing as it approaches the Sun, the Tri-Eye Atlas behaves like a guided missile, self-adjusting, accelerating, and correcting its course, ejecting gas jets at regular intervals. A new trajectory analysis shows that the closest approach to Mars will occur just 1,950,000 kilometers on September 26, 2025. For an astronomer, this is an insignificant distance. At such a distance, Mars's gravity could significantly influence a comet that might become a planet in another star system. And here comes a frightening turn. Just 10 kilometers per second of additional speed can change the orbit enough to cause a direct collision in just a few weeks. Think about it. 3 Atlas needs only a small amount of impulse. The SpaceX Starship rocket uses its launch from Earth to change its fate from a flyby to a collision. These impulse changes are happening right now, hidden in its tail. Spectroscopy from the Gemini Observatory in southern Chile has revealed something that no one can explain yet. Instead of a random ejection of sublimated ice, the tail of Tri-Eye Atlas emits gas every 17 minutes, perfectly synchronized for several days. These pulses create micro-vibrations in the precise direction to align with Mars's orbital plane. Scientific studies of comets cannot create such a precise rhythm. Gas jets in comets occur when sunlight hits fresh patches of ice. But these eruptions are chaotic. They do not repeat like a metronome. Here, the impulses look as if they were designed like rocket engines on a spacecraft. If this pattern continues, by September 19th, the comet will provide enough lateral thrust to reduce the remaining distance to less than 50,000 kilometers, closer than some of Mars's moons. One powerful ejection can then push a comet onto a collision course. At its current mass, estimated at 10 billion tons of heavily irradiated ice and dust, with a metallic core about 400 meters in diameter, a direct collision with Mars would release energy equivalent to 2 million megatons of TNT. This is thousands of times more powerful than the largest nuclear device ever tested on Earth. The resulting crater could be 60 kilometers wide and 5 kilometers deep, ejecting debris into Mars's orbit and potentially sending some into interplanetary space. Since Mars has dozens of active and planned spacecraft, from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to Perseverance, the impact will not only leave scars on the planet, but also destroy decades of scientific investments. Communication, climate monitoring, and missions to search for life can be destroyed in an instant. Preparations are quietly underway at NASA. Leaked documents show that mission planners are already using Mars Reconnaissance as a radar device to image and track the trajectory of the comet Tri-Eye Atlas. High-gain antennas at Goldstone were repurposed to reflect radar signals from the comet's core. The results are still classified, but one insider described them as something we've never recorded before: harsh metallic reflections instead of soft icy signatures. If these leaks are accurate, Tri-Eye Atlas may not just be ice and dust. Its core could contain alloys that cannot form naturally in deep space, suggesting an artificial interior surrounded by sacrificial ice. Professor Avi Loeb, and student Adam Hibbard have long advocated for a technological explanation. Their new paper, currently under review but already circulating online, describes a scenario where 3AI Atlas is a directed message sent by an advanced civilization. Instead of simply passing through our system, he could slip past Mars to drop probes or crash into the surface to release detectable materials from underground storage. They calculated that with each gas impulse, the object does not lose mass randomly, but controls itself using its own sublimated fuel. This would allow him to adjust the trajectory upon entering our planetary vicinity, just like a spacecraft does with its thrusters. To confirm the worst fears, the European Space Agency captured images from Mars Express of 3 small shining objects in a triangular formation in high orbit around Mars. Initially, they were dismissed as cosmic rays, but they appear in the same positions on 3 consecutive orbits. Could these be reconnaissance probes ejected by 3 atlases during their previous flyby? Loeb urges NASA to compare these glints with archival data from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to determine if there are any matching metallic fragments on the surface. This would be the first evidence of interstellar technology ever recorded. This discovery is significantly more important than the meteorites from Mars that we studied on Earth. The timeline looks threatening. September 26th, 2025 is the date when 3 atlases will cross Mars's orbit. The period from September 19th to 30th is a critical window for final course adjustments using gas impulses. During this time, the comet's speed relative to Mars will be about 57 kilometers per second. At such speed, even a light blow can vaporize cubic kilometers of rock and throw dust into space. Critics argue that no natural comet can change its path by 10 kilometers per second using only sublimation. This will require more than 10 billion joules of concentrated energy. This is more than any of the comet outbursts we have ever observed. And this is what the current trajectory implies. This energy gap is Loeb's strongest argument. If we observe such maneuverability, something provides power on a scale unknown to planetary science, possibly thermonuclear or antimatter reactors hidden under the ice, expelling superheated gas as thrust. Meanwhile, astronomy enthusiasts around the world were called to send in all images of the 3 atlases they could capture. Some of these shots show how the tails break into 3 needle-like streams that glow green and emit a creepy radiance, pulsing in time with gas emissions. At high exposure, the green beams seem to converge on Mars, as if hinting at a path. Despite Mars being far from Earth, a powerful impact can eject debris onto interplanetary trajectories. Some models suggest that fragments could reach near-Earth orbit within a decade. If even one of these fragments carries engineered microbes or self-replicating nanotechnology, they could not only affect Mars but eventually the inner solar system. The European Space Agency, Roscosmos, the China National Space Administration, and the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency quietly assembled emergency working groups. No one speaks publicly about why, but insiders discuss planetary protection protocols. For the first time in history, scientists openly discuss whether humanity should attempt to intercept or even destroy an interstellar object before it reaches another planet. The main question remains: who or what controls the 3 atlases? Is this an abandoned machine of a civilization millions of years ahead of ours, operating automatically? Or is it a targeted probe testing our reaction? We don't know. But the data no longer fits the old concept of a passive comet. Something about this object behaves like a vehicle rather than a stone. By mid-September, every major observatory, from Hubble to James Webb, will be focused on the 3-eyed atlas. If his impulses continue, and he crosses the last level of the orbital rupture, the red planet may witness an unprecedented impact since the late heavy bombardment that occurred 4 billion years ago. For scientists, this is the chance of a lifetime. For others, a cosmic nightmare unfolds in slow motion, and as this nightmare approaches, the silence of official channels becomes increasingly loud. NASA publishes calm updates, while the European Space Agency releases ordinary images. They understand that if the 3-eyed atlas collides with Mars, the consequences will change our perception of humanity's place in the universe. So, when you observe the rise of Mars in September, remember that above this rusty planet, an interstellar object passes through a cosmic needle, pulsating with its strange green smoke and adjusting its path meter by meter. Perhaps it's a coincidence. Perhaps it's a natural phenomenon. But if not, if some hidden mechanism deep within this icy core directs it towards a deliberate collision, then the first undeniable proof of extraterrestrial intelligence may come not in the form of a radio signal, but as a glowing green comet crashing into our neighboring planet at 57 kilometers per second, altering the night sky and showing us that we are not alone. And we will find out very soon. What do you think is really happening with the three-eyed atlas? A natural phenomenon or something more? Leave your thoughts in the comments.